Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A personhood initiative that would protect the lives of the innocent preborn has been filed in Mississippi. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action, on the phone again today with Steve Crampton, Liberty Counsel's General Counsel and Vice President. Steve, Liberty Counsel has been at the forefront of the personhood movement nationwide, particularly and especially in Mississippi, and you have been at the forefront of Liberty Counsel's efforts. Liberty Counsel has joined Personhood Mississippi in announcing a Life at Conception Citizens Initiative, which states, quote, "The right to life begins at conception. All human beings at every stage of development are unique, created in God's image, and shall enjoy the inalienable right to life as persons under the law." Steve, this is common sense stuff we're talking about here. This is great news. Tell us more about it.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt, and it is common sense, but it's radical and groundbreaking as well, as you know all too well. The Mississippi effort a couple of years ago, which brought the really international community to bear on the issue of personhood, ended up being defeated at the ballot box by some, 15 points or so. But during that campaign, the governor of Mississippi was Haley Barbour, who sort of poo-pooed the entire effort and said, this is a simple matter. If you just put a life at conception bill before the legislature, we could just pass it willy-nilly. Well, that was done in the last legislative session, and it went nowhere. So we're back again with a citizens initiative. And as you say, it is kind of spelled out very simply. Most Americans agree right to life begins at conception. It's certainly that life begins at conception. And likewise, that human beings are unique, and even that they are created in God's image. And of course, the language regarding the inalienable right to life harkens back to the famous words in our Declaration of Independence. Inalienable rights that cannot be taken away. They're not created by government. They can't be taken away by government. And yet here we are 40 years after Roe v. Wade, and millions upon millions of unborn children have had their rights to life stripped away. So Mississippians are back on the forefront trying to right a grave wrong and moral evil in our nation.
Well, Steve, this is by no means a done deal. There are several hurdles that we need to get over. First, in 2010, the initiative passed with 40,000 plus more votes than were needed. This go around, we will need to collect about 108,000 signatures.
Right.
I think clearly, as they say, been there, done that. It's doable, and Mississippi is ripe ground for this kind of this kind of initiative to be passed by we the people. What's different this year from 2010? You mentioned Governor Haley Barbour. What circumstances do you think give us a better shot this time?
Well, it is a very different playing field in a lot of ways. First, the churches have been energized, motivated, and sort of come awake to what's going on and what we face. So I think what's going to happen in this go-round is you're going to see a tremendous jolt right from the start. When this was done in 2010, the personhood effort was pretty much unknown. It was totally grassroots, folks just on the streets and at the county fairs and the like, introducing the concept for the first time. Now, as I indicated earlier, you've got an international stage that's very closely watching what's happening here. Interestingly enough, of course, our opponents are much more energized and prepared as well. We anticipate there will be legal challenges at every turn, but As I said, the preparation of the churches in particular this time around is enormously different, black and white. Moreover, in the governor's office today in Mississippi is a gentleman named Phil Bryant. Phil Bryant is the real deal. He is pro-life. He was one of the first ones to sign and champion the Personhood Initiative back in 2010 when no one else would give it the time of day. Politicians with their fingers in the air asking, well, who else is supporting it? You know, how's it looking? Let me see some polls. That's not Phil Bryant. He has staked, in many respects, his entire reputation and his administration on protecting life at all stages. So it is a radically different stage and will undergo much greater scrutiny than last time. In addition, we have seen basically the arguments and the deceptions thrown at us by the Planned Parenthood types. We are much better prepared to handle that and address point by point every little deceit they want to throw at us. So I think it's going to be a very exciting ride, and it may be a record time within which the signature requirement is met here. Excellent,
excellent. Well, Steve, in a Liberty Counsel press release, I'm glad you brought up the disinformation campaign that we saw coming out of the radical pro-abort camp. You mentioned some of those propagandist lies that they were spreading in order to try to kill the Personhood Initiative back then, certainly to get people not to vote for it. We've addressed those lies. What are some of those? What is some of that disinformation?
Well, you know, they have the usual routine that, oh, goodness, there's such vagueness here. Doctors will be unable to really address women's health under this bill. You know, every effort to try to assist a pregnant mother may result in an unintended consequence, harm to the child or something, and then he's going to face something like criminal prosecution. Well, of course, that's just garbage, and existing statutory law in Mississippi, long-standing statutory law, has long protected the physicians from any exposure under circumstances like that. Another one is it's going to destroy the in vitro fertilization industry. Well, we have prepared companion legislation that painstakingly details and addresses what happens with IVF under a bill like this, and it does not by any stretch bring that industry to a halt. Then there's the harm to the mother itself, or the exposure to the mother itself in the event of a miscarriage or something. Well, again, that is utterly baseless, has long been protected in Mississippi law, and once again, the companion legislation addresses that quite specifically. So we sort of take them out at the knees on that attack.
Isn't the big one, Steve, and the one that I think really they're using to frighten as many women as possible, is that this is going to somehow ban birth control outright, contraception? That's absurd. Address that.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. That is the big one, isn't it? Again, the companion legislation goes to great lengths to explain what happens with contraception. And as you know, I mean, the word itself, contraception, is in its essence a prohibition, a stopping of conception. So as this bill itself, the Personhood Amendment, states, right to life begins at conception. So what happens after conception is not contraception. So the effect of the Personhood Amendment would be only to impair the use of abortifacients, that is, chemical abortions. It does nothing to stop true contraception.
So, yeah, right. Abortion-inducing drugs are not birth control. They're not contraception. That's an abortion.
There you go.
That causes an abortion. And, Steve, thanks again for coming on. We'll be visiting with you again tomorrow on other issues. Folks, Liberty Counsel, we are on the front lines. We're at the forefront in defending life. You know, Scripture says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. We live in a world right now that calls evil good and good evil, to the extent that since 1973, we have slaughtered at the altar of choice 55 million plus of our own most innocent citizens. Liberty Counsel is not going to stand for it anymore. We know you're not going to stand for it anymore. The pro-life movement is gaining steam like never before. The science is coming out. All of the propagandist lies that the pro-aborts have put forward are being shot down. And people like Steve Crampton and those of us at Liberty Counsel are doing everything that we can to educate the public about what is life and when does life begin. Go to lc.org to become part of Liberty Counsel's team today. Help us as we stand in the gap to protect the preborn.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.